This is the perfect time for the blues. It's Mazzy here. Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about 4 blues reissues that just came out. Now, there are 4 here from 2 different labels. There are Craft from the Bluesville series, which is one of my favorite series of blues reissues that have been coming out the last couple of years. I love them. And then there's the new Acoustic Sounds 75th Chess Record series. Now, Acoustic Sounds, Chad Kassem, has been entrenched in the blues for many years, and they're one of those great labels. And I know Chad Kassem, it's a personal favorite genre of his. And with his jazz and blues reissues he's been doing over the last couple of decades now, it's an amazing series of curating great sounding records depending on the sources, and he attempts to go to original sources. Same with Craft for the most part on some of these. Now, yin yang, one is in-house and one is a third party collaborating with Chess Records, but it doesn't matter. It's the music. It's the music what it comes down to. Now, I'm going to show these 4 records. I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison. Now, I did an earlier video announcing both these series earlier on, so I'll put links below at the end of this. You'll see the little circles here. You can click on one or the other, or squares or rectangles. The links basically to see when I announced this Chess 75 Acoustic Sound series and some of the Bluesville upcoming things. I think I've announced these too, because these are great records. Now, it was a coin toss which label I'm showing first. So I'm showing the Craft first, the Bluesville series first. And both these are so different in the genres of blues. And this is a wonderful time for reissues in this blues category. And, you know, some are better sounding than others, but it's the music first. Now, even these audiophile, so-called audiophile, aren't like pristine sounding records, but I'll get to that in a minute. But it doesn't matter, because it is the music and the intensity of this music, especially when it comes to the Chicago blues, the chess stuff. But I want to start with a record that I know I've showcased before, and this is the new Bluesville version of Pink Anderson Volume 1. It's basically Carolina Bluesman. Volume 1 was ever Volume 2. Let me take off this obi that slides on the end. I usually just stuff them in. Now, the interesting thing about all 4 of these records, even though they're kind of 2 different labels, all of them were mastered, cut actually, by Matt Luthans at the Mastering Lab. And so, you know, there is that DNA there. But I kind of compared these to other versions I have of some of these. One is a battle of 2 great mastering engineers. Not really a battle, but a comparison, if you will. So let me start with this Pink Anderson album. 1961, this was recorded by Sam Charters. I'll get to him in a little bit. But this is essentially a folk album, a folk blues album. Again, I said earlier, I'm a big fan of folk blues, country blues, Piedmont blues. This is that. This is that Piedmont blues style. And it's just him alone finger picking his guitar. Something that I mentioned in that last video about these coming out is his name, Pink Anderson. That's the Pink that Pink Floyd took to name their band, the Pink. By the way, which one's Pink? This one's Pink. Again, mastered by Matt Luthans. Great sound, good tape sounds here. Again, that acoustic sound, very singularly microphone maybe. I don't know how it was recorded, but again, these wonderful tipped-on jackets, pressed. I believe these are pressed also at QRP. So yeah, so there is that overlapping between these 2 series. But this is a highly recommended record, originally on Prestige Records. Sam Charters did a lot of the folky crossover stuff and blues stuff for Prestige in the early 60s. So highly recommended there. This, just to give you a show, is my copy of the OBCs, I should say. OJCs, original jazz classics. Remember in the 1980s, Fantasy bought this label in the 70s, I guess. And in the 80s, they put out this series of OBCs, blues, and OJCs, jazz. And Craft's been continuing with both the OJCs and the OBCs. This is the copy I have. These are obviously thinner covers. This is like from the mid-80s or so. But this is a good pressing too, and this sounds excellent. The Matt Luthans cut, the new cut is fuller, richer. But if you don't compare, this is an excellent issue. And I'll be, probably selling this because I don't think I need both of these. But this is in shrink, has the original Jazz Classic Hyped On sticker. But this is a fantastic record. Either way, if you see this, I don't see this much around in used shops. So, and I did not know him back in the 80s when this was coming out. I heard the name because of the Pink Floyd connection. But I think it's great that original blues classics, the Bluesville series, is coming out now. Now, another one that I am all in on, and I think this is an excellent choice. From Chicago as well, contemporary, growing up with Jerry Butler and Curtis Mayfield, and he was doing the folky blues stuff. Now, this is recorded also by Sam Charters for Prestige Records, and this is recorded in 1964. And then apparently Sam Charters did a walkabout in the desert or somewhere, left with the tapes. And this record didn't come out until 1968. Maybe a little past its time where, this really wasn't what was happening in 68. He didn't even know it was coming out. His brother saw it in a store and picked it up. So 4 years later, this is released. But this is a beautifully haunting record. I adore this record. What's great about it, too, it's his acoustic guitar. There's an ambience. There's a reverb added to his voice that's very ethereal at times. Two bass players that kind of bring that bottom down, and you feel it. Out of all these, my guess, out of these four, in terms of you audiophiliates, this is probably the best sounding, but don't buy it because it sounds good only. Buy it because this is beautiful music. Now, it's not as gritty as in the other Chicago artists when we get into the Chicago blues after this record, but this is a wonderful record. One of my favorite tracks on here is Promenade in Green, and that was a song that was sort of a signature song during the folk scene in Greenwich Village, mainly by Dave Van Ronk, but other players sang it. You might know it if you saw the Coen Brothers film, Inside Llewyn Davis. It was a signature track, a signature song, and a beautiful, beautiful song. There's just a beautiful folkness to this record and acoustic sounding to it. Again, the acoustic guitars are lush. It's one guitar, but there's a lushness in that single guitar with those bass players. And the bottom is good. It's not overly bassy. 2018, when Kraft put out a 50th anniversary edition. So Kraft versus Kraft. This is a double record because it has an extra disc of alternate versions, which adds a lot if you're into this record. And so this record was cut by Kevin Gray. There is a visual difference between these two. The gatefold has a darker, heavier cover, different tonality, definitely. This is a tipped-on jacket, beautifully heavy. This is the new Bluesville, and this is a gatefold. Now, this has updated liner notes from the 50th anniversary, and it has notes that were written in 1965, so in between, after the record was recorded, actually, and before it was released. Liner notes by Rent Foreman on here. It's just a beautiful record. Now, the difference is subtle. You won't hear a big difference between these two. So if you have this, do you need this? Probably not. And they're both excellent. Maybe Kevin has a little more richness in terms of a sound stage that sounds a little wider, but not that much. The guitar, acoustic guitar, on both of these is crisp as hell. And I couldn't say I liked one better. Both are excellent. Again, I have to keep this one because of the extra tracks, and I like this one because I like the Bluesville series. So what am I going to do? I'm stuck. Unlike the Pink Anderson, which I don't need that original OJC, although it's good, I do prefer by a good margin the new one, even though the original OJCs from the 80s are excellent recordings. Those OBCs and those OJC originals from the 1980s are excellent. Now let's get into something else. I did a whole video, and you should, again, watch that if you haven't seen it, of the history of Chess Records and what this series is going to be about. They're doing 2 every couple of months, and the first 2 announced were Howlin Wolf, Moanin' in the Moonlight, and the best of Muddy Waters. So let's start with Howlin' in the Moonlight. I don't have another vinyl copy of this. I have this on compact disc, which I've had for years. For whatever reason, I bypassed this record. This is his first record, again, Moanin' in the Moonlight. This is a cool-ass, hot record. And I mean hot, it is hot. It is bright. It is intense. It distorts. And I think that's in the other tapes because that's the same that I have on my compact disc. It is an intense record. It's an edgy record. Don't expect to have it warm like those folk blues records. Don't expect this to be an audiophile wonder like when Chad has done those great Muddy Water records, the country records, the folk record that Muddy Waters did, Folk Singer. It's not going to be like that at all. There's edge to this. There's grime to this. This is gritty Chicago blues from 1959. But it's probably the best that this record has ever sounded. I have never heard this record sound audiophile. And who gives a fuck? This is great music. This is intense music. But it is edgy, so it is on the troubly side. But Matt Luthans, I assume, did what was on the tapes there. And I think this is excellent music. So this is highly recommended as well. But just take note of that, because I think there's people who don't know this music or don't follow this music. And all of a sudden they get something from a Rhino Hi-Fi or a Chad Kassem Acoustic Sounds or any other audiophile label and expect everything to sound like fucking Steely Dan. It's not going to be that, but it is such good music. There. So the other copy I have is this thin cover Sunday's record, clear vinyl. This is from 2017. This was cut by Kevin Gray. Now, we know Sundays did some of their stuff, a lot of their stuff, all analog, but some of the stuff was done from files, and Kevin Gray apparently cut both. Sometimes he would cut from files, sometimes he would cut from tapes, whatever Sundays would get him would license from the labels. And this is a solid pressing, nothing wrong with it. I will probably now let it go. So long. This is richer. This is fuller. This has a gatefold. Now, this is, again, edgy to some ways, not to the extent of the Howlin' Wolf, but you have some of the greatest Chicago blues songs ever. And I Want to Make Love to You, Louisiana Blues, Honeybee, Hoochie Coochie, She Moves Me, Standing Around Crying. This is an excellent record. Again, all these were cut by Matt Luthans, and what he's been doing with the OJCs, OBCs, I believe. I don't know if he does all those, and with the stuff with Chad Kassem and Acoustic Sounds is excellent. There is some disparity between some of the tracks. And remember, these are all recorded at different times, so some tracks are better than others. But it's a solid collection. And whatever he did, whatever they did to put this out, again, this is the best I've heard. I do have a Massive Chest box set of Muddy Waters, and I listened to some of the tracks from that, which actually sounds pretty good, those CD box sets that came out. But it's really going to depend on the tapes. Now, Chest tapes early on, they were not sonic masterpieces. I believe these are all mono recordings, but they're excellent. There's a great feel to this stuff, and it's a great bluesy feel. Again, the Chicago blues feel. But don't expect this to be a sonic masterpiece. Don't expect this to be like folk blues by Muddy Waters. It is not that type of record or type of recording, but it's an excellent Chicago blues record. Don't expect this to be a sonic wonder like those slick Toto records from the 1970s, because it ain't that. Thank goodness. This is wonderful, wonderful music, and I'm looking forward to the continuation of this series. I'm sure they'll vary depending on the tapes and the sonics, but what they've done here in putting these reissues together, it's great. Now, I believe the Muddy Waters and the Acoustic Sounds Chest stuff are around, what, $38 to $40-ish. The Bluesville around $33, of course. Acoustic Sounds has to probably pay licensing, I assume. That's why they're more, but they're both excellent series. And of course, the Acoustic Sounds are gatefold where the Bluesvilles are not. Again, I hate to compare them. It's not a competition between those two. It's about the music, and this is great music, depending on the mood I'm in. To me, those Bluesville are like Sunday morning beautiful records, or late at night sipping something. The blues are just kind of more party records, more, in your face, gnarly, edgy records of blues, which is good shit. So that's it. Maslov, preaching the blues for you. Thanks again for watching. Put your comments below. Do these interest you? What do you think? Mazzy loves you.